Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of the Arrowverse Weekly, brought to you by Atomic Geekdom. My name is Dave, as you can see below, that way. And I'm joined, as always, by...
Kyle, hi. Name below. Somewhere.
Name Blow. Not below,
Hey,
but below.
yeah. Hey, guess what? Going live.
Yeah, that's good. So before we start anything, we might as well just go ahead and say goodbye.
Yeah.
Simply because I don't know if you saw this news. Changing all kinds of weird stuff.
We're good.
I don't know if you saw this news or not, but there's news out of Marvel that the
Yeah.
the DC universe is no more.
Yeah, I saw that. I'll say it's a version of the DC universe.
It's weird. I'm gonna put it up on the screen here. This is spoilers for Thor #2, but it's pretty crazy. So you can see there's this thing happening called the Black Winter in Thor, and it nearly killed Galactus, and he made Thor a herald at that point. So you can see what looks like the Daily Planet and Superman, Flash, Green Arrow, or Green Lantern, excuse me. And it's the end of all worlds, essentially, is what they're talking about. So I just thought it'd be fun since that's happening. We have nothing to talk about. It's all over.
Yeah, I wonder if this is in response to Doomsday Clock number 12.
I don't know. I haven't read that, but
Oh,
I'll take your word for it.
spoilers. There's a little excerpt at the end of it that says the DC universe will fight against Thor and a giant green monster in the future.
Oh, okay.
So they're alluding to another, as is my background right now, JLA versus Avengers.
Your background?
My background on my computer.
Oh. Yes, we all can see that. All right.
Yes.
We don't have a lot of time. We have a bunch of new CW episodes to discuss this week. One in being DC Legends, which came back this week after a hiatus.
A very long hiatus.
I did not watch it because I have not watched last season, so I'm going to rely on you to talk about it when we get to that portion. But I can't talk about everything else because I did watch everything else. So, Supergirl. The Bottle episode was the name of that episode. Also, we found out this week that Melissa is going to direct an episode and that she's already currently directing that episode right now. So, congratulations, Melissa.
Oh, take it. Sorry.
Whoa. Okay.
All right.
The Bottle episode, which, as I had predicted, I don't know if I said it on the show or not, but I figured it'd be like a Bottle City of Candor type situation, and that's pretty much what we got.
Yeah,
except it was a bottled planet of Earth.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
As the title suggested, bottle episode. It's usually what is like on Star Trek or whatever. It's like they usually just don't go anywhere but one set, and so it was a take on the name of this episode, which I found enjoyable. I'm still not completely understanding how they shrunk an Earth, bottled it, and it appeared on Earth Prime. So if you know, please do tell.
You didn't pay attention much this week, did you, buddy?
I didn't pay attention to this episode much.
So Brainy was able to do it. Through the rituals that their people have been able to do. All the Brainies knew about it, and except for our Brainy, because he had shut himself off from the cloud.
Yeah, the big brain.
Yes, they called it the cloud.
Oh.
But yeah, the big brain. So yeah, this episode we got to see a lot of different Brainies, including the actors who plays Brainiac, Jesse's sister from the American version of Being Human.
Yep.
Yeah, she was the werewolf, right?
Correct.
No, she was the ghost. Pardon me.
Ghost.
She was the ghost, and you can see her on the screen right now as Brainy with the ring and all. Nope, you're not on the screen. Stop. You're not on the screen. Stop it. So there she is. We also got two other versions that were pretty cool. Well, I thought they were cool. fidgety, nervous, emo Brainy, which, spoiler alert, turned out to be a bad guy. Well, not necessarily. A bad guy thinking he's doing right by his planet. He's just trying to save his people. And then super crazy yellow belted Brainy.
Legion of Superheroes, like,
yeah, very much
first appearance.
Yellow booted Brainy. By the end of it all, we would end up having the green Brainy, not the blue Brainy, our Brainy Prime, I guess you'd call him. I think they did call him that in the episode. And he would learn from the sister version of of Brainy, the woman version of Brainiac, that in order to survive Leviathan, he's going to have to side with Lex and not with his friends, which thus causes him to end things with his lady. And it should be interesting to see where we go.
Yeah, I'm interested. I also have no idea how many more episodes John Cryer is in, but next week's...
You're obsessing over this.
Well, it's interesting because, last season he was only in 3, and that's all they allowed. And then now this season he was in Crisis 4.
That's all who allowed?
That's all DC allowed.
I'm sure they don't care anymore. Since there's
True.
a Superman show coming.
Yeah, but they still can't show Batman on TV.
That's a separate thing.
Right.
So stop worrying about it.
But next week we get the return of Wynn and the return of Toyman. In what way? We'll find out.
They hinted at it at the end of the episode, and the next episode is directed by David Harewood, and it's called Back from the Future Part 1. I'll say one criticism of this episode, and it's a weird one because I normally am all about any boy band song showing up in my show. While it was awesome to hear NSYNC's It's Gonna Be Me, it did not fit the fight.
No, it didn't.
And I'll have the same issue with Green Arrow when we talk about Arrow. That song it didn't work. It didn't resonate for me. It would have been, I don't know. It was cool, but it didn't fit the choreography. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
Thanks, Dunk V, for stopping by. Glad to see you can hang out with us for the first time in the Twitch feed. He's a long-time listener, so welcome to the stream. Glad to have you. Can't stay long, but we appreciate you. We're here every Friday, so stop by whenever you can. But yeah, so In Sync on Supergirl, I guess it's on brand. They like to play a lot of pop music and stuff like that, but it just didn't fit the fight scene. Like, I'm sure they could have, I don't know, maybe edited it differently. I have no idea. That's my only little nitpick, I guess.
When cool. I first saw it too, it was jarring because it just like fight scene. You expect something like kind of like the Wonder Woman theme in BBS, but then you get Poppy.
I don't.
It's like,
I don't need to be a score. A song can be cool, and it works in the past, but it's got to fit the tempo of the fight. And this kind of thing seems to happen quite a bit in TV shows. They kind of try to do the, I guess, Grey's Anatomy thing, where you fit a song into a moment and it kind of heightens the mood. And that works, and that's a cool song to fit in and try to make work with the coolness of the fight scene and everything, but it just didn't work tempo-wise for me. Maybe I'm wrong, or maybe we're wrong, and maybe it's just we weren't the ones that were supposed to be enjoying it. I have no idea. But all right, let's move on. Batwoman. The episode was called How Queer Everything Is Today. I had no idea what to expect from this. But we got our introduction to Gotham Prep, which I was hoping more for Gotham Academy.
Yeah.
But whatever, you can't get what you always want. So we got a look at Gotham Prep. There's a why did we go to Gotham Prep? Student, right?
Student, the hacking student.
Yeah, who is now going to end up working for for Kate.
And
Batwoman, because she knows, right?
Yes, she does know, and it was also the student was forcefully
her ex outed her.
Yeah, that's the correct terminology.
Yes, her ex threw her out of the closet, and it caused all kinds of chaos for her. Mm-hmm. And she got in trouble because she was like holding the city ransom for like $5 million so she could leave the city. because of the homophobia that she was kind of receiving in school.
Yeah, from her parents.
And her parents, yes, exactly. Yeah, we got a little bit more of the aftermath of Catherine's death along with Jacob's arrest. The girls talk to their father through the phone system, and he's getting the shakedown from the fellow inmate, or at least one. So I don't know. What do you think? Talk about the Batwoman episode. We got more Alice and
we
Kate.
got and our first like big post-crisis introduction, I think.
Well, they hinted at it. They sent who was it? Mary was at the school for some reason at the university, right?
Yeah. She was at the university, and she thought she saw Alice there.
Yeah.
And later in the episode,
it was Alice with the black wig, which we've seen at least once before, the brown wig.
Yeah.
That's another thing Mary and Kate kind of have made up, reconciled towards the end. Kate is also offering emotional support to Parker. She's kind of reaching out based on what she learned from Crisis about being alone and things, and also
like
just
being a paragon of courage.
Right. That old trope.
Yeah, and but I mean, the first post-crisis thing I was alluding to was Catco and Batwoman coming out as a lesbian.
Yeah,
and it being done by Kara too.
Yeah, Kara wrote the article about Batwoman being a lesbian after this whole thing of this hunky police dude saved Kate from a train when she was trying to stop this hijacked train that Parker hijacked, but he got away from her, or it was gonna stop regardless, but Kate stopped it before she could stop it.
Right.
And then she was about to get hit by another train, and this hunky policeman prompted the woman who used to date Oliver on the radio to say that she was a straight woman. She really didn't care that Oliver was dead. She offered a moment of silence for a second and then moved on. Plus, I'm so sick of it being... Is it Rachel Maddow?
I don't know, but I've seen... no offense to her casting, but I think you've said this before.
Yeah, she's
out of... it is not someone that Oliver would go towards.
Yeah, no offense to Rachel Maddow, but I'm sorry. Vesper Fairchild or not, Oliver has shown a different type of woman he enjoys.
Yeah.
This was our first introduction to Dr. Campbell, too, the plastic surgeon, played by Sebastian Roche.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to find somebody who can step in and explain how what's his name, Mouse, could have done what he did to set up their father. But yeah, go ahead and talk about our final Easter egg, or what would you call it?
Tease?
No, not really tease. Post-crisis fallout, I guess.
Yeah. So Kate comes back into her office, and there lies Beth, who Kate thinks is Alice, done up as how Beth would be like, but it turns out it is actually Beth.
Yes.
And Kate goes ballistic.
Why Oliver would create another Beth? I guess he's trying to help her. Maybe he didn't know that was Alice.
Right.
So when Oliver created this Earth, he was like, I'm going to give her back her sister. Which, good on you, Oliver. Thanks a lot.
And here's the thing. Well, I guess as a Spectre, he knows a lot of things. But even before he was a Spectre, he didn't know about Alice. He didn't know about Beth.
He was busy planting the trees and filling the ocean with water. He didn't have time to think about who Alice might be. So
yeah.
So there you go. Yeah, we've got our first real MacGuffin here. I don't know. Not MacGuffin's not the right word, but
no. We'll talk about a MacGuffin in the Arrow episode.
Sure. We got our first real hiccup with the post-crisis world we're living in.
Mm-hmm.
Next week on Batwoman, the episode's called "An Unbirthday Present." So we're talking the twins. So we'll see what happens there this coming Sunday, I should say. All right, moving on to Arrow and Legends. They aired on Tuesday. Excuse me. Arrow was
before that.
Yes.
Black Lightning.
Oh, go ahead.
I did watch the Black Lightning episode. I'm still very confused on what's happening in Black Lightning
You're still
because
catching up.
I haven't started yet, and so B, I'm very confused. But they did make mention of Crisis. Black Lightning was basically like, yeah, I went to another universe, I saved it, and
I saved
it. I helped save it, and everything's back to normal. He and his daughter Jennifer both remember Crisis, whereas everyone else doesn't, which is to be expected. But his daughter, because she was in her headspace, which is still very confusing, remembers pre-Crisis, and then that's everything from Crisis that happened on Black Lightning. There's Markovians and metahumans being rounded, or there's Markovians are being involved, and they're rounding up metahumans to do experiments on.
Cool.
So, Markovians have been in Young Justice and in the comics, but this is outside of that. This is the first time they've been introduced.
All right, and that's our brief update on Black Lightning until we can both catch up.
Hey.
All right, now we move on to the Backdoor pilot of Green Arrow and the Canaries on the penultimate episode of Arrow for the season. Right away, some cool stuff. We've got, I'll show it on the screen here, Black Canary singing a tune at her club called the Fishnet.
I didn't catch that part. I was just more focused on like how everything was going on there. I guess I have to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, it's called the Fishnet. They got a watchtower type situation.
Yeah. It did feel like the 2002-3 Birds of Prey.
Yeah, a little bit there. Maybe they got to see it. I don't know. But yeah, so basically nobody remembers except for the Canaries.
Right.
Mia is now engaged and graduating college. She's engaged to JJ, who, if you remember, was Deathstroke in the future in 2040. But now he is just some dude dating Mia. Still Diggle's son. And Connor was there too. At the party, right?
Yeah, and he was like some sort of like, it felt like he was a dropout or a drunk, maybe.
Yeah, he just wasn't really involved in the storyline at all in this episode, which is kind of upsetting.
Yeah, it was like he was just there and then he was gone.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
But so was the resurrected, why can't I think of her name now? Zoe, yeah.
Yeah, they dealt with Helena Bertinelli's daughter more than anything.
Yeah.
Bianca had gone missing. She's a socialite and I guess a 2040 influencer. That's still a thing, which makes me sad. Mm-hmm. She goes missing, and so that prompts Laurel to reach out to Dinah because Sarah has shown her the future 1 year into the future, and Star City is in chaos and burning, and it all starts with Bianca's going missing. Mm-hmm. So Laurel uses Martian technology developed by Cisco to give Mia her memories back.
The MacGuffin.
Yes. Everything MacGuffin comes from Cisco, to be quite honest.
Exactly.
Traveling between Earths and all these kinds of things. He's the MacGuffinator. Laurel, through just bullying, pure bullying, convinces Mia to kind of take back the mantle of Green Arrow when she remembers who she is. She remembers who JJ was, but knows is not right now. He's not Deathstroke anymore. They figure out that Bianca's ex, Trevor, is the one that kidnapped her and all these things, and
has a Deathstroke mask.
He does have somebody showed up in a Deathstroke mask earlier, and they imply that it was Trevor.
Mm-hmm. Well, they implied that it was JJ, or Mia thought it was.
They
JJ.
wanted you to think it was JJ, and then by the end, they wanted you to think it was Trevor. I don't believe it was either of them. But we know it wasn't JJ. So at the end of all this, they come out, they prevail. Bianca goes back to being an influencer almost immediately, as if nothing happened. They get a little hint that there's somebody else out there. Trevor says she's never going to stop, or she's got a bigger plan or whatever. He's got a tattoo on his hand
of the Hosen.
Of the Hosen, yes. And then at the end of the episode, Mia and William are at Oliver's memorial, and they always leave a hosen there, and that's when Mia notices the symbol on the hosen, and then they're tranked almost immediately. Meanwhile, a mysterious figure ambushes JJ at his home. He uses the same Martian tech that Laurel had, restores his memory, because the figure needs him for an unknown reason. The end. This was another case of the music not fitting the fight scenes for me.
What song did they use? I don't remember.
I don't know what the song was. It just didn't fit. I have a thing where I love when music fits a scene. It doesn't have to be an action scene. It could be a dramatic scene, but if it makes me connect to it emotionally, it worked. I was not connected to it. I was like discombobulated from the scene. I didn't like it at all. The fighting was great. It just didn't mesh with the tunes. Granted, I imagine they have to use somewhat obscure music because it's 2040. You can't. I mean, you'd have to do like. You'd have to call these songs classics at this point if they're playing current music. So, what's interesting to me is they talked a little bit about Supergirl in the episode. They mentioned her name once. They talked about Cisco, of course. No mention of the Super Friends or their Hall of Justice.
No.
What this felt like to me is a few years ago, and I think it was part of New 52, they did a Batman Beyond run where they kind of introduced the Justice League Beyond in more depth than they did in the cartoon.
Yeah.
And it kind of felt like that might be what this is going to be. This is going to be Green Arrow Beyond, sort of. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I love everybody involved. I don't really want it to be about this. It felt real OC-ish.
I could see that.
Like, just about dating and things like that. I put the wrong picture up. Now I got a picture of the Canaries and Green Arrow in her new costume. I don't know. I didn't jive with me. I'm glad it got good ratings, and it sounds like it's probably going to do well. And they're probably going to get greenlit for at least some kind of episode run. What did you think?
I enjoyed it. The ending made me want more, so it did its job.
Sure.
Thankfully. I'm having a hard time reeling in the fact that Dinah just felt like she was a nobody after Oliver's funeral and didn't have to go hide.
Yeah.
Because
she had like no identity.
Yeah, and that part is just like she's a black canary. She's in the history books as it, so it's hard. Other than that, yeah, I mean, I want more. I like these three. It's nice to see Katie Cassidy back as a Black Canary, and also that Dinah Drake has her Canary Cry back. So thank you, Oliver, for that. Because last season, Dinah had her throat cut,
right,
and she couldn't use it. So
that was another thing. They went into a building that was meta dampened.
Yeah.
But Star City had been crime free for how long?
For 20 years.
So what do you need that for?
I guess just in case.
Just to throw it in there that they can't use their canary cries.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Next week. Oops, clicked the wrong button. Now Spotify is going to open. Next week we've got the finale of Arrow. Speaking of that, the day after the finale, hopefully, Atomic Geekdom, our podcast, our home ship, will be airing a farewell to. Let's get that black screen off your face. A farewell to Arrow episode where we talk about the finale, the final series, our favorite seasons, all these kinds of things. We'll get into it. That'll be next week, right after the finale, if not a day later. So you can stay tuned to that. But of course, we'll also talk about it here next Friday.
Correct.
So that's Fade Out, directed by James Bamford, written by Mark Guggenheim, and showrunner Beth Schwartz. So get your tissues ready. Some pictures have already started leaking, so
oh yes,
you can find those wherever you want. All right.
I have refrained from saying anything because I know you would just stop me.
Good. All right, so now we're on to Meet the Legends, the season premiere of DC's Legends of Tomorrow, which I'm just going to start calling, and what I always call it is Legends of Tomorrow, because the DC's part is dumb.
Yeah, because it came at a time when it was Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
So they had to somehow differentiate it, but whatever.
It wasn't ever DC's Arrow or DC's The
No.
Flash. Just, those were there already, so whatever.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go ahead. Kick it off.
Oh boy, where to start with this episode?
Very meta from what the pictures tell me.
It was a very meta episode. It broke the fourth wall a lot. They keep calling it the crossover.
I'll put the picture up. It looks like they're on a set. There's a camera. There's a boom operator.
So they are being filmed by a crew so that they can keep the Wave Rider and being funded because the Time Bureau
crowdsourcing.
Yeah, basically the Time Bureau is defunct. Oh
boy.
This was not their strongest episode.
Oh, okay.
But it did.
Did I see them on like a Comic-Con panel?
Yeah, that was because the whole crew with the camera and everything was them making a movie so that everyone could see what their day-to-day lives were like, so that Congress could keep them up and running. Which I'm like, they're on a time ship; they don't need money.
Right.
But whatever, they got to keep it. The only great things are Constantine in this episode and Mona leaving finally.
Who's Mona?
Mona is the Lycan, the werewolf.
I have no idea.
If you have not seen season 4, then you have no idea what I'm talking about.
There's a dude that doesn't look familiar. It doesn't look like Gary.
Oh no, that's Zari's brother. Again, season 4. You have to watch it.
I figured. Yeah, I figured, but
time travel.
Speaking of guest directors, Katie Lutz will direct episode 73 or episode 5 of this season.
I think that might be Ray's last episode too.
Titled Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, everything with Constantine in there was great. It sets up for the future of this season, which is the worst of the worst coming back to life. Like this episode dealt with Rasputin, and Ray, in order to kill him, Ray did the unthinkable. He was thrown into Rasputin's mouth, swallowed, and then grew big. So much like the fan theory of Ant-Man going into Thanos' butt and growing big, this happened.
We're saying that's the unthinkable. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the line. All right, I gotcha.
Yeah. But there were moments like Sarah being down on herself because Oliver's dead and she couldn't do anything to stop it.
Sure.
Or to help. So I get that, but it was just like I did not like the whole meta thing with this show about them filming. It's a one and done. Glad it's done.
Right.
Can move on. And Mona from last season was a bore for me and a bunch of other people, i.e. 2 of my other co-hosts. Legend TV Talk. So I'm glad I'm happy that her character had an arc and that she can leave and then possibly come back.
Why can't we get rid of somebody useless like Nate?
Nope, because he's not useless. Because he can do a lot of stuff. He is
like annoy the crap out of Dave because that's what he does consistently.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Anything else from that episode we need to get into?
Nope. I did not watch. I do not know what's happening next episode, other than John went to hell again, and so he's going to be there.
Looks like some kind of Cleopatra thing going on with what's her name?
Yeah.
Why can't I think of her name? Ava.
Sarah? Ava?
Looked like Ava. Maybe it was Sarah. I didn't look at the full picture.
Oh.
The episode's called "Miss Me, Kiss Me, Love Me." It's funny. All of these episodes have movie names. So, Meet the Legends, Miss Me, Kiss Me, Love Me. I don't know what that would be. Slay Anything is the next one. Ahead of Her Time, not Ahead, A space head of her time. Mortal Kombat, Mr. Parker's Cul-de-sac.
Which, yeah.
Romeo versus Juliet, Dawn of Justness.
Yes.
Zari, not Zari. So, sorry, not sorry. The Great British Fake Off. Ship Broken. Probably some kind of relationship thing there. Freaks and Greeks. I Am Legends. This one's interesting to me. It's directed by Mark Guggenheim, and it suggests a very fourth wall breaking, we know what we're doing, supernatural type episode called The One Where We're Trapped on TV.
Yes.
And then the final episode is called Swan Thong.
Ha.
Yes.
And that's the season finale because all these shows got picked up, except for Arrow.
Except for Arrow and Green Arrow and the Canaries. We'll have to wait and find out.
Correct.
All right, so that is our episode this week. If we didn't talk enough about your favorite show, or if there's something we missed that you want us to talk about, let us know. At Atomic Geekdom on all the social medias is where you can find us. If you couldn't watch this live, you're watching it on the archives on Twitch. Those don't last forever, but everything ends up on YouTube, so you can find us on YouTube and always watch us there. Follow us here on Twitch so you know when we go live, or like and subscribe on YouTube so you always know when a video is posted. That's all I got.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back next week. Is next week Flash? Is that back yet?
Next February 4th.
Oh, that's not next week. Okay.
Nope.
All right, 2 weeks away from the Flash. Everything else we'll continue to discuss until then, and then we'll just add Flash to the mix, and then of course we'll add Stargirl to the mix in March. Is it May? Something like that. Spring. Yes, when it still will be snowing.
Yep.
All right. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next Friday. Say goodbye, Kyle.
Bye.